Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another update. So the big news that most of you guys may or may not know, or will hopefully know by now, is that there are now actually several states that are essentially what they're doing is that they're trying to contemplate on creating, or have actually already, interestingly enough, created a brand new unemployment program related to the vaccine mandate. So what this basically means is that essentially it's a program where if you are someone that is currently working and you either end up losing your job, or if you're someone that's already unemployed but you want to find a job but you're afraid that your vaccination status will impact your ability to find your job. What's going on right now is that there are many states that are essentially now starting to create their programs to allow people that lose work or just have something happening related to vaccine mandates to now be able to come back and go back onto the unemployment program. But the big news is that this is something that's now happening on a state-to-state level. There is one state that has now officially approved it, which, as most of you guys know, happens to be Iowa. So huge congrats there. But the big thing is that we now officially have brand new information about what a lot of the other states are currently doing. There are now officially things that we're kind of just still waiting around for. And I really just want to talk essentially today a little bit about everything that's happening in that world, and maybe share a little bit about the new unemployment numbers and what that really means for us. So as always, we're going to get started right away, but as always, real fast, the same exact rule as always, consider smashing the like button because it's always greatly appreciated. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell for similar videos. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts about honestly just really anything. So that being said, let's get this video started. So right now, currently at the time that we are making this video on Tuesday, November 16th, 2021, the story is that we officially have only one state that has now approved a program, which is specifically, as just mentioned, Iowa. It is now actually officially effective, so it's not only approved, but it is actually now officially happening, where essentially the story is that if you are someone that loses unemployment, or you lose your job, or you find work but you're afraid to lose it for reasons related to the vaccine, through this program, what it does mean is that now you'll be able to qualify to come back onto the unemployment again. Now, the big thing is that in terms of what other states are doing, there are now currently 3 states that are looking the most likely to be next. These 3 states will happen to be in Missouri, Tennessee, and Kansas, with Kansas actually trying to preach not only to try to create this unemployment program, but they're actually interestingly also trying to just remove the mandate in general. So they essentially want to make the mandate completely just illegal. They want to essentially just try to take out the entire program in general. But if anything, in order to combat that, they are now contemplating on doing an unemployment program specifically for people in those particular circumstances. Now, what is the big significance of everything is really just the fact that because right now at this current time, as crazy as it is to think, we are literally about 6 weeks away from the very, very end of the year. So definitely a time to try to finish up as much as we possibly can that we've wanted to do before this year ends. But it's because of that reason, in the next couple of weeks, a lot of the vaccine mandates, but specifically the due dates when a lot of companies are going to start to enforce these vaccine mandates are coming up very, very soon. So because of that reason, it is anticipated that there may be a wave. Now, how large is that wave? It's still a little bit uncertain to say, but it's that nonetheless is that there's going to be a wave of several, who knows how many people that are now potentially going to be falling off of unemployment or falling off of employment again when they end up losing their jobs related to this mandate situation. And the even more hardcore situation to this is also the fact that because if they end up falling off of the falling away from their job because they were technically fired and not necessarily laid off, it also does mean is that many of them at this current time may not actually qualify for unemployment. So what this means is that there is a chance that the unemployment rate may actually now start to go up But the numbers will not reflect that because the numbers don't account for people in those particular circumstances. So if these states, like Iowa, which was already approved, and then a couple of the other states that are contemplating on doing it, are able to officially approve this program, the big significance is that it means that these people now can be counted on to the actual unemployment numbers and data that essentially comes out every single week that we've pretty much been sharing. So huge love if you guys have been here for that long. And the story really, I guess, going back to one of the states is in Tennessee, for example. I believe in Tennessee right now, a lot of the lawmakers have actually already approved this program as well, but it's currently sitting in front of Governor Bill Lee's desk, waiting to maybe potentially sign it. So essentially is that in Tennessee, the bill for this actually already exists and it's already been signed by many lawmakers. It's just really now in front of the governor's desk, and we have to see if they physically sign it to make it basically an actual thing that's going to take place. But even beyond this, is the big idea is that it's also anticipated that many states even beyond this, or beyond every state that I've already mentioned, is probably now also going to now start to come out with their own decisions about whether they want to potentially do this program in order to help out a lot of workers to get back onto the program. And again, going back is I think that the biggest benefit is that it's also hopefully going to allow it so if that these people are able to get back onto the program. Not only is it going to help on a financial level so we're able to get more relief, but it also means that it makes it so that the numbers that they use to contemplate whether or not they do more programs in the future will also be more accurate. And I think that's the really, really big thing, so that every single person, or as many people as possible, can be accounted for inside of the numbers that we see every single week, to show really how many people are actually genuinely employed and still, could use a lot of relief going forward. But really beyond this is I do really just want to share the unemployment numbers really, really quickly, which actually just came out right here, because now that we do know why these numbers are so important to everything that we've been talking about, right now at this current time, there are about 2.6 million people currently collecting unemployment. And again, keep in mind is that this doesn't mean that there are 2.6 million people unemployed. It just means that there are 2.6 million people that are accounted for in the numbers and that are actually collecting unemployment. In a lot of ways, what this really means is that it means that less people are collecting unemployment, but not necessarily that there are less people that are physically unemployed, since many times they may not necessarily be counted as part of the numbers. I believe in terms of the change, specifically we had about 267,000 people file for unemployment in the last recent week, so we are definitely seeing a drop. But again, keep in mind is that one of the reasons these numbers are going down is not necessarily because people are going back to work, but it's also largely because it's actually harder to get onto the actual unemployment numbers or the actual unemployment program. Also keep in mind is that before unemployment ended, we used to share what the numbers were for just traditional unemployment, and then we used to share the numbers for PUA unemployment. Sadly, because PUA unemployment is not a thing right now at this time, it means that we don't actually share the numbers for PUA unemployment. So there's also a lot of uncertainty about what those numbers really would be if the PUA program was still very, very much around. But the big idea to really see it is that the numbers are dropping, which shows that on paper things are improving, but it's also a little bit uncertain about how accurate these numbers really reflect what's actually physically going on. Feel free to share if you guys had any personal thoughts about this, about honestly just really anything. But I think the big idea overall is that with everything that's going on, the hope is that especially now that the fourth stimulus package has officially now gone through the physical infrastructure side, and now that they're moving on to the social programs, the hope is that maybe they can now have a lot more talks and news come out in the coming weeks. Of course, because we're still, nobody knows what the future is, we're still kind of just waiting for more information. But beyond this is that that's what I really wanted to share in today's update. If you guys found that insightful, as always, consider smashing the like button. Huge thanks if you guys made it this far.